project to the public while we're on Rathayatra, and maybe something about how we impact others in the process?
Rathayatra, of course, a festival where Krishna does something unusual. He pledges to stay out of the face of those who have no interest in him. Therefore, most of the days of the year, Krishna is in a temple, and only those who are devoted to Krishna come and see Krishna in the temple. All others have no way of seeing Krishna. They don't have any contact. But on Rathayatra Day, Krishna comes out of the temple, and he goes to see those people who had no intention to see him and had no idea who he is. And he comes in this very strange-looking form. If you haven't noticed, Lord Jagannath sometimes, back in prehistoric times during the summer of love in the 70s and the 80s, people used to think Lord Jagannath looked psychedelic because he looked so unusual, and people had no idea why people are bowing down to this kind of very, very strange-looking thing, Lord Jagannath. But Lord Jagannath is Krishna, but in ecstasy. So Krishna comes out from behind closed doors, and he makes himself visible to the devotees in general. And we too can make an effect on others. Sometimes people come to Krishna consciousness because they get a book. Sometimes people come to Krishna consciousness because they meet a devotee. Sometimes. Oh, okay. Do you want to make an announcement?
Okay, there is a red car Kia, which is blocking our truck. Anybody has brought the Kia car? No. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So, the nature of trying to meet people is our way of reaching out like Krishna does. So one day out of the year, Krishna comes out of the temple, and he's visible to people who had no intention of meeting him. As a result, we have an opportunity to be the way that people learn about Krishna. And it may be their first time. Myself, I came to Krishna consciousness because of a Rathayatra. I had no idea what a Rathayatra was, and what happened was I had a friend of mine visiting me. That time I was living in San Francisco. I was living right on Oak Street, and between Oak and Fell there's a panhandle, and the panhandle is perpendicular to Golden Gate Park. And I lived literally 1 block away from Golden Gate Park. And my friend came to visit me, and he said he wanted to go to the Rathayatra. I had no idea what a Rathayatra was. He said, the Hare Krishnas are having a shindig in the park. That's what he said. That's how he said it. And this wasn't the kind of lingo he usually used, so I didn't know what to make of it. And I wanted to do something else. But he was real keen on going to this Rathayatra. So, okay, I thought, all right, we'll do what he says. He's the guest. I'm the host. He's visiting me. I had lived with him in Los Angeles for about 8 months, and now he was visiting me in San Francisco. So I said, all right, we'll do what you like to do. We went to the park, and there were many devotees there, and I saw 3 carts. I thought, this is very interesting, very unusual festival. And as I tell people, there was this big pedestal that was actually about as big as this podium, a little bit bigger. And on this pedestal were Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, and they were almost twice life-size, but they were hollow, and they were made out of some kind of fiberglass or something like that. Was it?
You still have them in
Yeah, they still have them, right, right. So this was 1976 or 5, one of those 2 years, I don't remember anymore. So how long have they had them? You know, that's a long time. So they had these wheels on the bottom and you could spin them. And the idea was to make it look like Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda were dancing in front of the Rath cart. So somebody asked me if I wanted to help. And, you know, I didn't know nothing from nothing. So I thought, all right, let me grab one handle. And devotee was on one side, I was on the other side. He said, just follow me. And so sometimes we would go in circles, and sometimes we'd dance in front of the Rathayatra cart. And I could kind of get the idea of what the intention was, that it was to look like these two figurines were dancing in front of the Rath festival. And as I tell people, we got to one point, and suddenly I was having a lot of trouble moving the little cart with Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda on it. And the reason, I looked over and I saw the devotee was lying on the ground. And I thought, did he slip? And then I looked over and saw it wasn't just him. Everybody was lying on the ground. And I thought, what's going on here? I had no idea what was happening. I had no conception of Krishna consciousness or anything. And then about, 6 feet away, there was Prabhupada on a dais. And I thought, who's this? I had no conception of who Prabhupada was. I had no idea what Krishna consciousness really was. I was just there because my friend wanted to go. And everybody was paying obeisances to Prabhupada. And I thought, well, okay, obviously this is some sort of respect people are offering to this man. But literally 10 seconds ago, I had no idea who this person was. So I feel kind of strange offering respect to somebody I don't have any knowledge about at all, no information whatsoever about. But, these are the kind of things where, it's like the Twilight Zone. The universe suddenly changes in a substantial way and you're not sure why. I was the only person standing up, everybody was bowing down, and it just seemed like time stopped, Everybody's offering obeisance. I'm the one person who's not offering obeisances. And I'm thinking, And I started to feel more and more uncomfortable being the only person not offering obeisances. Although I had no idea what it even was, So at some point it occurred to me, well, maybe it obviously can't hurt to respect somebody you don't know anything about. You can't get in trouble for it in any kind of way. So I thought, all right. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just kind of got down like everybody else was. But, I didn't know any prayers or anything like that. And I didn't know anything about Prabhupada. And just as soon as I got down, I heard, Jai! And everybody got back up. And I thought, oh, okay, well, whatever it was, it's over now. So, when the procession went a little further, the parade came to what's called Mark's Meadow in Golden Gate Park. And there was this stage set up, and there was Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra on one side, and Prabhupada on the other side, and he was speaking. And I still remember he was saying, and so the hand cannot enjoy the food. The hand has to give the food to the mouth, and the stomach enjoys, and the hand also enjoys. So there has to be cooperation. The hand can't eat the food itself. It has to give the food to the stomach, and then the hand enjoys. And I thought, wow. I thought he was talking and giving kind of a pep talk to his followers that they weren't cooperating or something like that. I didn't realize he was talking about the existential situation of humans in the material world having fallen here and given up the service to Krishna. Because, again, I didn't know nothing from nothing. So that's the way I thought of it. And this was the one and only time I actually saw Prabhupada. I had no idea who he was. And You know, later I was initiated by Prabhupada, but at that point he was already too sick to travel, and I got a letter in the mail, etc., etc. But so Rathayatras are sometimes the vehicle by which Krishna pulls a person into Krishna consciousness. So you never know. And that person that you see, you may say something to. And sometimes Krishna consciousness is like poison gas under the door, that you get it and you get sick, but you don't notice it for a while, and then later on it hits you, you know. So many times people catch the fatal disease of Krishna consciousness, and they're unaware that something has happened to them. Only much, much later do they develop symptoms, you know. And sometimes the devotee will say something to you, and you will think, oh, okay. But it haunts you for, you know, years and years, and finally is the reason that you come into Krishna consciousness. So that's why Rathayatra, and of course any kind of preaching situation, can bring us into spiritual life. And if we're trying to please Krishna, we're trying to pray to Krishna, we may get the opportunity. I always think that every time Rathayatra comes by, I really blow it. I never really meet someone or make the effort, you know, and I feel bad afterwards. And I vow next time I'm really going to get it together. I'm going to figure out some kind of better strategy. I'm going to come with some kind of information to give them, etc., etc. And this way, you know, I'm always trying to improve. Of course, sometimes I speak at Rathayatras, and that's a chance for me to get across to people. But whether you're on the podium giving a lecture or whether you're just talking to somebody, more often than not, the chances of meeting somebody and giving them Krishna consciousness, the seed of devotion, the bhakti lata bij, is even easier usually when you're just meeting